Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Hey, Dana. Good to catch up. Is that
I know.
or is that
it's an old one. It's a locket that has the kids and my nephews in there. But yes, I love it. Thank you. I found it and I haven't worn it in a while. I had to bust out my calendar because I was like, what have I done since I've talked to Linda?
And when is the last? Well, other than doing podcast, I mean.
I know it's been like a few weeks, but wow. Today we thought we would just do a kind of a quick little catch up. So, but I do want to start with, will you talk about your trip? Because
oh my gosh,
you were gone and
I was gone for 12 days. I was kind of, you know how sometimes you have a trip and you're like, oh, we really kind of wish I wasn't going right now.
Yes.
But we already had it planned, already had it paid for. And it was a French Riviera cruise. And I kind of wanted to see what I thought about France. And then I was trying to just, see, do I even like France? Because I love Italy, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how I would feel about France. So we started off and just went. The nice thing about the jazz cruise is two things. One, I like music, but I'm not there just for the music. They have this thing called, what is his name? He's been around forever and he has all these connections. But anyway, he books people to come and talk that are entrepreneurs or somebody who's done something great. So I like the cruise because there's a little bit of that on there also. Like last year we had
where you met the Uggs person.
Yes, the guy that invented, brought Uggs to the United States. And
yes.
I mean, you could say he created them because nobody had really called them Uggs, but everybody in Australia had sheep something. So it was kind of not new for them, but he brought it here for like surfers. So that was very interesting last year. And then also we had the Chris guy that it was Pursuit of Happiness, the actual.
Oh, yes.
And so he was very interesting. That was last year. Secret Knox is the name of the company that runs these people. So this year it was very interesting. It was astronauts, which was very interesting.
Wow.
Because wow, I didn't know what all they were doing. They're doing so much in space. And then, talking a little bit about how does NASA feel about Elon Musk doing what he's doing?
Yeah.
They actually feel good about it because the private sector doing that helps get it revived and more money into it. And all
I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would help it.
That one was one of our speakers. And then some guy that owns famous restaurants was one of our speakers too. So it's a little extra of what I love, which is learning along with great jazz musicians. Like one of the guys that was one of our musicians, every Disney movie you can think about, he was the singer on it.
Wow.
So the cool thing is you don't even realize that you're in front of greatness. But when you think about what those people did to get where they are and what they've accomplished, it's pretty, they have Grammys, they have all these things, but they get on this boat and they're just average people and they're getting to play with other musicians that they normally wouldn't get to play with because they're all out on tour always.
Wow.
So it's really kind of interesting because each of them has their own story about how they got to where they are, and you get to see the journey was not quick. It was a long time on task on something that they love and that they were gifted with. So it was just really interesting. I did sleep a whole lot because we'd kind of gotten sick a little bit with sinus stuff and everything before. So I probably took a nap every day, which is so not like me. So I felt like it was kind of my restore myself cruise. Yeah. And then we rode a high-speed train from Nice to Paris.
I just talked about this with my friends Mandy and Roger in Columbus. We just were talking about that. Did you like it?
Loved it. It was 5.5 hours, but it went by so fast.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we didn't understand about the seating. So for a while, we're sitting forward, and then all of a sudden, for the rest of the train ride, we're going backwards.
No way.
I don't know where we were, how it got done like that, but like, what the heck? So for most of it, like 4 hours, we're going backwards.
Did you feel it though?
Oh gosh, you can feel it. And the countryside's beautiful. So you're getting to see all of the countryside.
Yeah. Well, I wondered that, like, is it so fast that you can't see?
Oh no, you can still see. Yeah. It's only, it's not like a plane fast or anything.
Yeah.
it's not. You can see the whole countryside while you're there. So that
Yeah.
was really interesting. And I got to see, if I were going to come back to France, where would I come? Saint-Tropez was my favorite because it's more quaint. It's not commercialized.
Yeah.
I didn't like Monte Carlo that much. Uh, I didn't like Canes or Cans, whatever, which way
Yeah.
people want to say it. I didn't like that one that much either because they're kind of more industrialized. And I like the quaint
Yeah.
village, that
I
feels a
like
little bit
that
more.
too. Addison for his high school graduation really wants to do that. Whatever he and Adam love that race thing in Monte Carlo. They watch
Oh,
it
you
every
had
year.
some money for Formula One or something?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and he has said forever that whenever for his graduation present that's where he wants to go there.
So then we ended up in Paris for like 2.5 days, a very quick trip. And so
Yeah,
that was fun because I'd already planned on shopping there because when I texted you, they
yeah,
literally, everybody there wears something designer because all the
all the
designers.
time. Yeah,
And I had watched the movie on Chanel. I'd watched the one on Dior. So I was fascinated by,
yep.
so that was fun to go there and do a bit of shopping. And then on the last day, I'm texting with Mick, one of our operating principals in Columbus, and he's in Paris.
Well,
And
that's
so
so funny. Yes, because I had a coaching call with Terry, and she said, "You won't believe this." She said right before, because Mick is her call before me, and she had texted me and said, "I'm done early if you want to talk early." And I said, "Did Mick not have his call today?" And she said, "He's in Paris." I said, "Linda's in Paris today," and she said, "I know. Mick told me that he called or knew Linda was there or something," and I was like, "That's what in the world of a small world is that?"
yeah, he texted me because I always call Mick for directions. It's funny. I'm like, hey Mick, I'm in Columbus. How in the heck do I get from here to here? We tease about always him asking his directions. One day I was asking his directions and there was a recruit beside me. And this was years ago. And I'm waving at the recruit and running to the back of the car with the person in front of me. So we always laugh about that. But he said, okay, don't ask me any directions. Paris is very confusing. I have no idea. So I said, no, I'm not going to ask you directions. I'm just happy I can text somebody and it's not 2 a.m. for you. Because I
Yes,
have
that's
texted
right.
people at all the wrong times, of course. But
Oh my
it was fun.
gosh.
Yeah, it was a blast. So, and then,
Oh.
yeah, so it was a great trip. And I do like Paris a lot more than I thought I would.
Did you like Paris better than London or London better than Paris?
They're similar.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I still like London a little bit better.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe not, maybe Paris because um, the food was a lot better than I thought it was going to be too. I didn't think I'd like French food,
Yeah.
which we didn't have a lot of real exotic French food, but we stayed at a Rosewood hotel, which is like
Oh, I love Rosewoods.
one
Yeah.
of our favorites. And so the hotel was fantastic. The restaurants were good in there. So, but yeah.
Oh, so after you did the cruise, you went on the train and then you stayed in the hotel. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we flew home. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my
Yeah, it was fun.
gosh, man, that
So
is so
yeah.
fun. But so then, did you go straight to Austin?
Came home. I don't even know for how long. No, came home, went to Oklahoma,
Okay.
came back home and went to Austin. Yeah.
Okay,
And then
got
just got
it.
home from Austin yesterday.
Okay. I got to the opportunity to speak at at the high capacity leadership group that I do with John Maxwell that Chad runs. They had their first annual women's retreat, and I got
Fun.
to speak at that. And it was at Bolt Farm Treehouses in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Seth and Tori Bolt, Seth was one of the band members of Need to Breathe for years, and they're in the high capacity leadership group. I've met them through there, but they started that Bolt Farms Chattanooga thing. And it was amazing. I mean, all the speakers were great. We had the best time. Talk about the coolest thing. Like, they have developed this land into these glamping tree houses. And I mean, they're booked solid for all the time.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever. And their story was just incredible. They actually started right outside of Charleston in Allendale, South Carolina. And they just ran up. They used all the money that they had to buy this land here. And then they ran up against small town mentality people that were just talking about them on blogs and on Facebook and stuff, because they didn't want Airbnbs in their county, basically. Mm-hmm. And so after 3 years, they pretty much ran them out of town. And Seth and Tori said they were just praying and praying and praying. And Tori found this piece of land right outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's like maybe, I don't know, 30 minutes outside. It's in the middle of nowhere. I drove and I was like, oh my gosh, this is out here. But it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. But she said that she just saw it pop up, and this was maybe in 2019, I can't remember, right around that time frame, and they bought the whole entire acreage, Linda, all the land for like $200,000. They actually borrowed it from a friend or something like that. Yeah, and she was like, only God. So today, as of a couple weeks ago, they had it appraised, and it was a lot, like over 30 million, a lot. And they were like, and they have just invested everything they've had into it. And it's just, I mean, their story is incredible, but it was so cool. It was like just one of the best events. But we had another one of the speakers there, was the CEO of that House of Color, who does like, are you a spring or are you a summer, or, you know, all that stuff. So we didn't get to do the full thing, but we got to kind of go through. She actually said that I'm one of the hardest ones, that she really thinks I would need to come in to know mine. But if she had to get like to do the full 4-hour thing, but she said she thinks I'm a warm spring, which is what ChatGPT told me. So that's probably, probably
good.
right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, but it was fun. The speakers were great, and it learned a ton. It was just really good. Chad has done a really, really great job with that.
That's so
really
good,
great
yeah.
job.
Okay,
And then after that, I actually I went to my offices in Kentucky and Ohio, and I thought one thing we might touch base a little bit about is the market. Wow, it's slowing. I mean, it's really changing. And a lot of agents are just, I think, you know, the top agents are doing a lot of business. But it's just interesting to see how quickly the market really is kind of changing. But all the economists, and even, what's his name at KWRI? Who's the economist? Ruben, yes. Even Ruben said on the last Zoom that they are anticipating Q4 will be the strongest quarter of the year.
He told us the same thing.
Yeah. And so just really, but it's interesting to see. I mean, it's the ones that are not giving up lead generation. They are going all in on their database. You know, they're not spending a fortune on leads anymore. They're going back to the basics, and they're deepening their database. They're just doing the things that we've talked about for, 100 years.
You know, it's funny you should say that, because in my meetings in Austin, our flag, I'm so excited. Our flag in the ground is profitability. That's what it should be. Profitability for offices, profitability for agents. That's what we all should be focusing on. Just don't focus on anything else but profitability. But one of the cool things that we worked on is different ways to kind of work at scale with some of the main costs, like employees and different things like that, which I think is what we got to figure out. And we made so much stride yesterday. We masterminded almost a whole day and a half, and it was so good. But one of my ahas, Dana, when I was listening to that, and I think the agents are exactly at the same place. Owners were making so much money, so easy, that when all of a sudden it starts to change and it's harder, there is a period of grief, of mad, of, maybe I should go look at doing something else, looking for greener pastures. All of those things kind of almost have to happen before there's a reset. And then the reset says, okay, this is where we are. Now, based on that, how do I win? Right. And I think offices are finally there, or at least, I felt like the shift happened. And we were all like, okay, this is where we are. This is now what we got to figure out so that the profitabilities all go back up for everybody. And I think agents have to do the same thing.
I totally agree.
I think you have to say, okay, how do I speed up through this grieving, mad phase, denial phase, all the phases that you're going to have to go through when something massively changes, like this has changed for us in the real estate world.
Yeah.
I think the faster they can get through that and go, okay, the reality, here I am. Here's where reality is now. Based on that, how do I win at this?
Yep. I 100% agree with that. And I'm like, I've been so thrilled to hear that, because it needs to happen so much. And I do think, I mean, we had a Zoom right before we started recording today with some leaders, and what exactly we talked about is people got used to making a lot of money, and agents did too. Easily making a lot of money.
And that, honestly, that wasn't the norm. This is the norm. that
Yes.
wasn't even the norm. But because no one knew any other difference,
Yeah.
or the ones a lot of people getting in didn't know any other difference, or even the owners of offices had never owned an office before to know that that wasn't the way it was going to be forever.
Yeah, well, and you've got what is it? I think it's over 80% of agents right now that are licensed have been in the business less than 14 years. So they've
Oh,
never experienced a 1995 market slash.
they haven't learned price reductions. They haven't learned how to set the seller up front for the market, talking to them and teaching them and telling them when they need to reduce. How
Yep.
do we pay attention to that? What's the advantage of us being ahead of that instead of behind it? How do we strategically cause our house to sell instead of somebody else? I mean, all of those things,
Yep.
because they've never experienced it. They're just kind of, first of all, in
Yep.
denial, and then now they're like, okay, now what do I need to do? Because now I'm faced with sellers who are blaming me because the house isn't selling.
Yeah, I know.
And
And I wrote like a new little class called Navigating the Current Market. I wrote it for my offices and then I've been teaching it. And yesterday I taught it for Luke's office in Bowling Green.
yeah,
And Chad, the team leader, called me afterwards and he's like, I've been doing this 29 years and I learned stuff. He's like, our agents have never heard anything about how to have a price reduction conversation. And I even have a slide in there that says the sellers are always asking, what have you done for me lately? When their
yes,
home is on the market. Like, it doesn't matter how
yes,
great you are,
yeah,
they are all in their minds. They are thinking, what has my realtor done for me lately because my house hasn't sold?
yeah.
And
You know,
it's just a different market.
one of the things Anna is working with some of our offices too, which is another thing that agents need to do too, is they're saying, hey, help me find money that personally everybody needs to be doing this. I'm sitting
Yeah.
there looking at all my subscriptions that I've
Yep.
just so blindly clicked a button and forgot I had,
Yep.
but I think everybody has to do a redo on their budgets and their expenses. And so Anna's she just worked with the same office and working on, hey, here's some money that we don't need.
Save.
We did
Yeah.
this a few weeks ago with some other offices. We found phones that nobody was using,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
online that nobody was using. So I think that's the other place where you got to go cut expenses and cut money out that you just don't really need to be spending right now.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Yeah. Yes, I think all of that is so good. I mean, the same thing that applies to the offices applies to the agents. And
Yes.
it goes back to what Tony DeCello, my favorite Tony DeCello quote of all time is when you wake up in the morning and you roll out of bed and your feet hit the ground, do you think of yourself as a realtor or as a business owner? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, most people think of themselves as an agent, but they
Yeah.
should be thinking about themselves as a business owner because they are. And all the things that we're doing for the offices, agents should be doing the same exact thing. I mean, it was easy to make. Luckily, the volume price hasn't affected. Like,
Yeah.
volume is still high, which is saving a lot of people because they're still commissioned. But we're just seeing a lot of those, like, I would say middle to newer agents not doing the business that they were doing. And I think it's because the more seasoned agents in the business, they have been through shifts. They know what to do.
Yeah. They're adapting a lot faster.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
like, oh, I've been here before. I know exactly, the shift book too, which,
Yep.
pull out the shift book,
Yeah.
read
I've been
it from
telling
cover to
everybody that.
cover, make sure you're doing what you need to do in there. But again, I've always said the market share an agent will gain during this type of downturn. They'll never lose, but
Yeah.
you've got to learn the skills. And you got to be there first. You got to go upstream to find people before they raise their hand and everybody else sees it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what also agents weren't used to doing. They were just order takers. And now you got to go upstream, find those people before they raise their hand and 15 other people see them.
Yep, it's so true. Yeah, one of the things that I said in my class yesterday was you actually have to work on the listing. You can't wait on the listing in this kind of a market because
Yeah.
otherwise they're already thinking about who they're going to go to next if you're
Yeah.
just waiting on the listing.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Ruben talked to us yesterday, and it's funny, middle America is not as bad. Like the Florida
Yeah,
states, Florida and Texas are some of the worst right now.
yeah,
So the outlying states are worse off. Like we're down more, but middle America is not as bad. But I'm
yeah,
sure to
that's good.
everybody there, it feels like it because
Mhm.
it's still not, like whack-a-mole real estate.
Like it has been. Yeah,
Like it has
totally.
been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a big takeaway from that is all agents need to be back to trainings, like getting back to education, getting back to trainings, making sure that you're with a brokerage that is offering a lot of trainings. Like, even if you've been doing this 10 years, you still haven't experienced what the market is like. And, you have to be, and also just there's new stuff like right now, man, I'm telling you, not only with the other stuff I've been working on, I'm working on these case studies for AI and trying to get, we're trying to get our brokerages and all of our agents recommended, which I've learned is a whole other strategy now that you have to follow and do. And it's a lot, but I mean, there's always something to learn. And the ones that are leaning in are the ones that are taking market share. And the ones that are not are the ones that are losing market share. And I just, came back from Mega Camp and said to our teams, like, we will take market share during this. Like, we will adapt to these things and we will lean in and we will learn it. And we're putting money towards some of this AI stuff so that because it's not going away. I mean,
no.
And people are going to Chat GPT and asking who should I use to buy a house more than they're going to, Google. Yeah. So
well, and I would think too, whether if you're an office, having listing contests, take the hill, paint the town red, like all the things we did long time ago when listings were hard. Because listings, if you know how to work if the seller has the motivation, you know how to make sure you know what their motivation is, and you know how to stay in conversation with them and get them to do the price reduction they need to do to get the most money, you'll always win. I don't care how bad the market is. The problem is when it gets hard to sell houses, agents decide they don't want to take listings, and that's when you should take listings.
That's right.
You have to master those skills. So having contests on Paint the Town Red, take the hill, whatever that is, offices can do those kind of things to push people to doing that. And then as agents, get a group of agents together, do scripts offs, do scripts and dialogues practice. We used to do practice scripts, and we'd always have a ball in our hand. And if I gave you an objection and I threw you the ball, you would have to answer the objection while you're throwing the ball back and forth, because sometimes you're caught off guard by something a seller never said to you before, and you're not prepared for it. So just learning to keep your brain in such a place, so when that ball comes to you, what great question should I ask them to help them self-discover, what I need them to self-discover so that they price it right or reduce it or give me longer to sell it, whatever the case might be.
I love that.
I mean, those are things that you just got to bring back that we had done for years and years when it was hard, when listings were harder to sell.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be the market that we're in for the next 5 to 7 years. So, agents have to really take it serious.
Yeah, and I think too, you have to understand. Let's say you have a seller coming from a different state. What happens is there's the tale of two markets that always happen when this happens, even across cities. One part of the city could be moving still like crazy, and the other is sitting. You've got to pay attention to what's really happening, either from where they came from. So what's their mindset? What are their thoughts around how long the listing should take to sell? You got to ask a lot more questions, because if you don't manage their expectations, they blame you for everything.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Yeah. I actually have, I mean, I'm so glad to hear that. What I forgot to have was the tale of two cities, but everything we've talked about I actually have in my class, because I just tried really hard to go back and look through things and think about, okay, what do these agents who have never been in this market not know? And it's all that stuff. And it doesn't mean that you can't learn it. You absolutely can. You just have to lean in and really understand it. But price is king in a market like this. And if it's not moving, 9 times out of 10, it's the price.
Well, and I had an agent I was talking to the other day, and I heard them say, my one seller just wants to take it off until February. If you're not sharp, you're going to let them do that, and that may not be the best thing for them. So learning, don't just say, oh, okay, well, I'll see you in February. Think through, is that really a best decision for that seller? Or could I help them discover that we don't know what February is going to be like? And you're saying, what are we missing opportunity wise for you to not go now? So thinking about all of it takes a lot more strategy. And a strong agent will sit there and say, well, let's think about this for a second. Here's the things you told me that was important to you. You want to get here by this date. You're going to, family's going to be separated because one of you is going to go on ahead, or whatever the case may be. You're going to have to learn how to help them think through, is that really the best decision? Right.
Yeah.
And then also asking on the front end, how motivated are you? Do you care if the house sells this year, or you don't care if it sells this year at all? I mean, be willing to ask hard questions and get them to say out loud really what's important to them, so that you know what you're up against when you take that listing.
Yeah. So true. Yeah. So true. Yeah, we'll have to do a couple more on that because I do think this is the time. I mean, it's just interesting to see how the agents, even in different markets, Columbus is drastically different than Kentucky, but just to see and even then here in Charleston, I mean, wow, totally different markets. But it's like all the agents are kind of saying the same thing. The agents who are top agents are like, I've never been busier. And everybody else is like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm dead in the water. I can't get my listings to sell. And, I've never had this many listings before. These sellers are wearing me out.
What would be fun is for any of our listeners that have objections that you'd like, send those into us at info@everythinglifeandrealestate.
Yes, we can answer.
Let us help you kind of craft, because here's what I've learned. People are people, and most of the objections come in one shape or form the same. I mean, they're the same. So once you can kind of really learn and practice and be ready for those, so that you're not groveling or selling or whatever when they give them to you, you're having a moment to pause and think through what's a great question, or you already know some great questions to ask to get them to self-discover. That would be kind of a fun exercise too, if people are struggling and they've got some objections that they're hearing that they'd love for you and I to kind of just go through on the podcast. That'd be something we could do also. Listings are my favorite thing. I love listings because I don't have the patience for buyers, but I love listings. I love all the things, strategy you have to help and learn and figure out, and learning scripts and dialogues and all the things.
Yeah, me too. That's a great idea. Awesome. Well, good catch up. We'll do it again next time.
All right. Sounds good. Well, Dana, I guess I'll see you next week. And if you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. The greatest compliment you can pay Dana and I is to pass this podcast along to anyone that you think would benefit from our conversations. If you have a challenge, an opportunity, a guest, or a question, or an objection you want us to cover on the podcast, be sure and reach out to us at info@everythinglifeandrealestate. And Dana, I'll see you next time.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.